Hi, Teen Sire.
How are you? I'm so excited. It's going to be the shortest introduction ever because I'm so excited to have this beautiful, wonderful powerhouse of a mom and a woman right here in front of me. I've been following her since last year and just like stalked her Instagram because that's what I do. And I cheer her on. I give a million gazillion comments and shares. And you can tell the excitement in my voice. We've been talking for a while, but now I'm like, oh my God, she's actually here. So without further ado, Miss Vanessa, hi.
Hey, how are you?
Doing really good. I'm so thrilled that you're here.
Me too.
We've been trying to book this for a while, and
Yes.
she's so understanding of like my schedule because you all know that I have this brand new project, Latina. So go on and get stuff around there. I'll link it all below. But she's also been busy. She's a mom of 3. She's also a teacher, and she also does her own blog. Has her own business, for crying out loud. You guys, if you're a mom, or if you're planning to be a mom sometime soon, you better go check out her blog. She has the best blog posts about literally everything you can imagine. She shares what I love about her, actually, what I love about you, Vanessa, is I bring people on that are really real and honest and authentic. And that's how I started following you, because you just tell it how it is. It's like, I'm stressed at home with 3 kids, but here, let's make the best of it.
And
Exactly.
congrats to you too. This is amazing news.
Thank
Your
you
new
very
project.
much. Oh, I love it. I am so happy that I get to speak up for those who are too afraid to speak up and just talk about things that are swept under the rug in the Latina community. And it's all inclusive. So even if you are Latina, much like Vanessa, I told her, like, it's all inclusive. It's for everyone. You get to learn, you get to have fun. And yeah, so thank you very much. My goodness. So tell us a little bit about you, my darling, so they know about you.
Okay. So like you already said, I'm a mom of 3. Just recently went back to work, but we're in COVID mode right now, so I'm working, but again at home with the kids. Started blogging like the week before our first was born. I was off for that little bit of time, and I'd always known I wanted to write. And I decided, okay, well, I'm just going to do this on my own platform. And yeah, 5 years ago, and went through that process back then, and it's kind of grown from there. Had 2 more kids, we moved, and here we are. Yeah.
So there you go. She made this seem so easy.
No.
Yeah, I just, the week before my baby was born, I'm just going to start writing. I'm going to start doing a blog. I'm just going to create a business, while I'm on break from teaching kids. So, okay, that's a normal thing. And then I had another baby. And then, oh yeah, in between that, after that, sorry, I had another one. So you make it seem so easy. Like, give yourself credit because holy fudge, I swear. I'm super excited because I know exactly your wins, and I can't wait to share the world what you have in store next. But before we do all that, let's start from the beginning. What does writing mean to you?
It's always been my sort of way of, I don't even know, expressing myself, I guess. Getting those ideas that are always going on in your brain or always floating around in your head out there. And motherhood kind of was a bit of a spark for me because there was so much going on, so many changes, and it gave me that sort of push to, and those ideas just kept coming. Obviously, there's been ebbs and flows throughout the process, but that first year, the writing was just, it wouldn't stop because they're happening and you change person, mom, and
Oh,
to write. Yeah.
exactly. I adore that because you talk a lot about that change, the change that you're going through, and that you went through in that moment, of course. And I feel like, I mean, I'm a writer, so I definitely understand that I need to write everything. So I understand like that sentiment of being able to express yourself in any way, shape, or form. And I always tell people, like, even if you aren't a writer, writing is good. Like, just, it doesn't have to make sense. It just spit it out, basically. That's how we always
Therapeutic.
say. Yes, there you go. That's the right word. Therapeutic
Yeah.
indeed. So today you're also on our blog as well. You wrote a little nice, beautiful article for us. And I wanted to leap into like this big statement that you said, that motherhood never kept me from starting. it's why I started. So walk us through this tale of what you created and when and why.
Well, I think before motherhood, my sense of time was quite different. I had always known I wanted to write, but it was always one of those things where I was like, okay, maybe I will, I'll dabble in it. So I did a little bit of freelancing. Um, Motherhood kind of made me realize that, things move quickly, and you had these little moments of time where I could get these ideas out. So it pushed me to do these things. But in addition to that, there was so much happening that I was always inspired, if that makes any sense. And there was always a story. There was always something to share. I mean, this happened. I don't know how exciting that was for who was reading it, because through it or not, but there were so many changes happening, and that kind of inspired me. Yes, it's difficult when you're a mom to find the time, but the inspiration kind of came out of motherhood, if that makes sense, and that push that I needed.
That makes complete sense, actually. And I love that because with that statement and why you started, for me, something like, okay, I'm not a mom yet, obviously so. I'll make that announcement whenever it happens, obviously so, because you keep all asking. I'm like, not yet, people, not yet. But still, what I was trying to say is that, there's never really a perfect moment to start. There's never really a perfect moment to begin and be like, oh my God, now that I have my office, or now that I have my space, you're like, let's start the book now, or whatever. No, life doesn't really work that way. It just kind of just happens. I mean, for those of you who have been following me for a while, you know that I started and I start and I still am. Well, I started many years ago, but as of right now with a podcast, I'm on the edge of my bed. There's no office space. I live with a bunch of other people, which is family, but like my in-laws, and there's 10 of us in this household. So you kind of grab, yeah, I know it's crazy, but you kind of gonna grab whatever you can in that moment. And that's what happened with you as well. And I feel like it's super special and important for mothers. Like I said, I mean, I've interviewed a whole bunch for our Mother's Day special, and just in general, there's 6 beautiful moms in that special from May. But every mom I talk to, it's like they take motherhood differently, and it's something so important to have self-care and to make sure that you are aligned with who you are and don't get lost, because
Yeah,
you
that's
get
huge.
I think that's something super important. So the fact that you started it at that moment, I don't know. There's something that I love about that statement, that it comes so hand in hand. And especially with your firstborn, more so because by the time they're older and they're off on their own, you've been doing this for 15 years, 18 years, and that's always been you,
Mhm.
and you always kept a big part of who you are even within that. So I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that little
Thanks.
tidbit of your story. So tell us the meaning behind your name. Not your name, Vanessa, of course, the name of your blog.
uh,
What's the name of it? And tell us the meaning, please.
no problem. So it's one of my favorite literary characters, Josephine, was kind of the inspiration behind it. I've always sort of loved her story, and the idea that she started writing as well about family, obviously different situations, writing about her sisters. But there's something about writing about your core, like what's really happening to you. And part of her story is that she's trying to write other things, but she doesn't really create the story until she's writing about who she is. Um, yeah, and it kind of went from there. And the idea that she's kind of a creative inspiration as well. So that's where the creative life came from. Yeah, I've always loved her character. So it's kind of amazing as well that this year another version of the film came out, and it was cool to see.
Exactly. I love that. I love when it's like something also so artistic as well, that we can kind of relate to, especially because you said, it's a writer and your core. Like
Mm-hmm.
it lines up with exactly who you are. Because with you, like I said earlier today, what you see is what you get. And you write about your core. You write about what's important to you, and not only your feelings, but you also help, other moms find the best kind of activities or the best kind of products, et cetera, whatever lines up to who you really are. So I feel like that's a really cool reference. So, what did you discover as you started writing about motherhood? You know, I know that you started something really cool, which is Josephine's Creative Mom Careers. Was that the name for
Your
it?
moms. Yeah, that was one of the first things I sort of dove into with the blog, or used like through the blog. Um, I discovered that sort of women were uh, sort of creating their dreams even in motherhood. So they were still reaching for these goals, and I was like, there's all these women out there doing this, and I started to get in touch with them, and I did these face-to-face interviews for a while. I need to go back to that, maybe somehow, now that we're in COVID, maybe this way, like through, Zoom or something like that. But I did these interviews, and I got to know their story, and it was super inspiring to see other women pursuing these goals as moms. And a lot of them were inspired by motherhood. So it was kind of amazing to see that I wasn't alone in that in journey, and know that it was possible to do that. So I learned a lot, and I met some amazing women who I'm so
Exactly.
close with.
I adore that sentiment a lot because, as you already know, and people who follow us already know, that, those Libras a community. It's always been a community. It's not named after me by any means, because we're we're all going to be spotlighted or highlighted some way of shape or form. And when you created this little big actually creative mom careers and whatnot, you went with the same sentiments, like, oh, I'm not alone. This is
Mm-hmm.
good. Why don't we just help each other and like share what we do and collaborate and just make sure that everyone gets seen and heard, because it's super important. So I totally love that. Like, absolutely. I can't wait to see what you do more with it. I know right now it's crazy because obviously COVID, and you're a mom and you're a teacher, like it's kind of everything. But I truly feel like your essence is still there, as I was telling you before. And oh my God, I can't wait to see what's more you have in store for us. Um, one of the things that you mentioned through the blog post that you shared with us, and in general, that there's a stigma that your career has to end as soon as you become a mom. What is it? It's like, what is what you learned along with your blogging journey that made you feel differently?
Well, for me, it was almost the opposite. I already obviously I had a career, I had a job at that point in my life, but I hadn't pursued sort of the creative dreams that I'd had for my entire life that were sort of always there. So for me, it actually started during motherhood, which is, I think, the complete opposite. And we're so afraid, I think, as women, as moms, that we're going to have to give up so much, and of course you still do, but you gain so much as well. I think I gained a lot more confidence through motherhood. Still working, but getting there. And yeah, you're inspired in ways that maybe you weren't before, and that's not the case for everyone. Like, I don't want to paint everyone with the same brush, but I think it was this passion project after motherhood or during motherhood.
Love it. Because I totally I see that, of course. I feel like I deal with a lot of people who get afraid of that. It's like, oh my God, especially nowadays, where we all have babies much later in life, because we understand that we first be able to fulfill ourselves and fill our cup, which is extremely important, obviously. So, but we still have that kind of fear of like, oh, when I become a mom, that's it. I'm just a mom. And you're like, no, once again, like, first of all, you're a person, you're a woman, and then you're a mom.
Yep.
So I really hope that, with people who are going to follow you now and are thinking of becoming moms, saying, oh, if she did it, I can do it as well. And like I said, you don't have to write, you can be a baker, you know what I mean? You can open your own bakery. It can be something completely different than what you are doing, obviously. So, but that you're still allowed to have a place and a voice, because you're still a human being. So I love that.
Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree with that.
What is your message behind your blog?
Um, like at the core of the blog is really just sharing stories. So wherever that leads. Right now, I'm in sort of motherhood. So a lot of those stories are coming out as sort of my own experiences. But yeah, the message is that all our stories can be shared. And the more we share our stories, the more that we know, and we've talked about this earlier, that we're not alone in these stories. I think it's very scary at the beginning of motherhood. You do feel alone. So it helped me to connect with other people and other moms in a way that I didn't think was possible, in a way that I didn't know existed either. So yeah, sharing stories and connecting, I think, is the big thing.
Exactly. And I mean, that's one of the best things about technology. Anytime I get asked, I'm like, technology, there's a lot of bad that comes with it. I understand that, but there's a lot of good that comes with it, that we're able to come together even more so and be like, oh, there's a mom all the way in Australia feeling the exact same way, you know, even down the block. It doesn't matter, like, where that's the point of the, sentence, of course, that you can always find someone who's going through the same thing or has gone through the same thing. And you're like, oh my God, what do I do? And the other person's like, oh, I got you. Do this, this, and this. You're all good. You're going to make it. Take a deep breath. Because I mean, once again, not a mom yet. I've been a foster mom. I always tell you, and I always have those stories because you all always ask and whatnot. And I just feel like it's the hardest job out there and definitely the most rewarding. But, it's something that you need a tribe, no matter how big or small. I feel like it's tough cookie. Especially, I mean, even if you only had one, I feel like it's the same. But when you have more than one, and you're like, all right, what do I do next? How do I handle all these little creatures at the same time? Let's do this.
It's all relative, right? Like when I feel like when we had our first, that was so scary in itself. And everyone's like, well, you have three now. And I was like, well, back then when I only had one, I didn't know any different.
Exactly.
And the struggles that I had then were very real. So
I love that you mentioned that as well, because you also need to have credit for the firstborn, even if you only have one. You're like, it's the first time I'm doing this. I don't know. It's like, I don't know. It's like learning how to drive for the first time, in the sense of, you don't know, it's a car. It's like, you're very careful, hopefully, when your first time you do things, obviously. So especially, it's a human thing. It's a so much. Oh my God. I'm going to come back to like all these blog posts whenever I become a mom. I'm going to go back. I'm like, okay, I'm starting from scratch. How do I go? That's exactly. Oh my gosh. So this year you hit a huge milestone.
Yeah.
5 years of being a mom and 5 years with your blog, of course. So how does it feel about being a mom for 5 years and a mom of 3 on top of that?
It feels pretty crazy. Like, I think 5 kind of marks. 4 did as well, but the age 5 to me marks like they're kind of coming out of that baby stage. And it's like exciting because you see them growing, and you can have conversations in a way that you couldn't before. But it's a little bit sad too. Like, there's that, baby, where's my baby kind of thing. Yeah, so it's kind of blowing my mind that our oldest is 5. In terms of the blog, it's been a journey, and I think I've learned so much. And when you hit a milestone like that, you're like, wow. And you kind of sometimes want to look back and be like, wow, okay, this is where I started. So I've been doing a lot of going back to why did I start this to begin with, and where do I want to go from here. So I've been trying to process that. That's kind of where I'm at right now.
I adore that you mentioned that as well, that you go back not to be nostalgic and be like, oh my God, 5 years ago, but you go back to understand your why, to remember your why, better said.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's super fundamental in anything in life, including a business, of course. But just, you got to remember your why, and you have to have your why very present. That's what I always say, because it's so true in everything.
We can get lost.
Exactly. Really easily. Yeah. Like, not only distracted with the million gazillion things that we have, of course, hence, again, technology, but just lost. Just it's so easy. And I love that statement because of that, because like I said earlier, you tell it how it is. It's like, oh, it's been a really roller coaster of a ride. It's been rocky, of course. You were explaining before we started recording, of course, that, within this 5 years, you had that transition of, I started like the blog, and I was like really constant, and I had a baby, and then I went back to work, and then I had another baby, and between I kept blogging.
Yeah.
I went back to work, and then again, finally a third one. And here we are, kind of finally more or less full circle of the same kind of, roller coaster of a ride. And that's something that we definitely wanted to share with, our audience because of that, because I feel like there's a lot of comparison as well. That it's like, oh my God, look at her. She has, 3 kids, and look at her. She has like 1 million followers, whatever, and whatnot. And you're like, well, that, it takes a lot of hard work, determination, and it's okay to get lost just as long as you go back to your why, right?
Mhm. For sure. Yeah, there's been lots of moments where it's like, do I have it in me to keep going? Can I still do this? Is there still time in a day? And what I've kind of learned along the way is you have to make the time. The time is not going to appear to you. Like, it is blogging time today. So if you want it, you really have to make that time and want to do it. And I think the desire to do it has never gone away. Like, the desire to create and all of that is just, you have to try and find ways to stay motivated, and going back to that why is a big deal for me.
Completely. And I love that you always find time for yourself in that particular area of your life, because like I said earlier, I keep saying this extra sentence, I'm so sorry, but it's true. You started right before you became a mom because you do that something for you, only for you, that's going to make you really happy and fulfill yourself. So that's awesome. Among all these, trials and errors and ways to get lost, and she's back on the road, obviously. So we got to give props, because I know you got loads of help from your family, obviously. So we just wanted to give like a humongous shout out and then some to all of them. How has that helped you grow?
Well, it's always been there. I've been lucky to have a mom that's super supportive, a dad that's super supportive, in-laws that are also super supportive, and of course a husband that is super supportive. Like, he has been there the entire time. He's now taking the majority of the photographs for the blog and for the Instagram page, and just knowing that you have someone to say, okay, I need to do this for this amount of time. How can we schedule our days? And we've been able to, it's not always been easy, but we've been able to work things out and make it happen. He's in a way so supportive. Like, I remember when I first started writing when we were married at home in our new house, and I would get up because I was distracted, and he'd like carry me and put me back in my chair, and he's like, okay, go finish what you were writing. So yeah, it's amazing.
So
Like,
adorable.
literally the chair. Like, okay. But having, parents that will help with the kids, or a husband who is willing to sort of take away, has been so helpful. Yeah.
Oh, that's so sweet. I love that. Because it's all about that. It's all about that, having that supportive team, that supportive just backbone, essentially. That core, like we keep repeating, because it's absolutely true, of course. I adore the fact that you were able to also not only have that in him, but also like stand up for yourself, because I've also had many moms through this special Mother's Day special episodes and whatnot, but also through Go to Fly, that's like, well, thankfully, I made sure that my husband knew that, this is important for me and this is what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And am I going to turn into a business? I don't know. All I know is that this is important, and I'm going to be away for X amount of time, And without going any further, luckily enough, my answer is like, yes, I luckily enough have a supportive husband who has done something similar. What your husband has done, like, go back, go sit down,
Yeah.
go finish, because you got this. And also it's because, I know what I want to do. So it kind of becomes aligned hand in hand. If I know that whatever project I'm on is really important to me, he feels that too. So he's going to be naturally supportive, which is just amazing. Yeah. So what is some advice that you would give moms who are craving a creative outlet and want to take the leap?
Do it, like, go for it. And we talked about this earlier, because obviously, like, I've had challenges like that, and I'm still having challenges like that as things change, as new technology becomes available and changes happen, we get kind of scared. but you have to just try. And it's not going to be perfect at the beginning. Like I remember looking at, the first blog post I ever wrote, and I was like, whoa, pictures. I was like, oh gosh, what is that? And, but you have to try in order to even move forward and get better, because if you don't sort of give it a try, you'll never know. So I think that regretting and not ever doing it is worse than, trying and it being scary. So yeah, just give it a go and find it. Just try.
I love that as well, of course. I mean, I feel like anyone who's anybody, not only, a blogger, not only anyone in the online world, anyone who's even in like that famous, your favorite Hollywood actor or actress, if you go back to the first time they were on screen, to the first headshot, to the first draft that was ever written for Harry Potter, for example, anything in between, it's kind of like, oh my God, what is this? But because you don't know, which is fine, because you learn along the way. I do believe that, I'm sure. I mean, I was like, I'm sure that's going to happen to me. I'm like, no, actually, let me retake that sentence. I know it's happened to me when I see my first post, or like, I know it's going to happen with a podcast. Like right now, I mean, we do the best we can. We have some technical difficulty in some episodes. We have our dog sometimes barking in the background, but just for 2 seconds, thankfully, but still, it comes with a challenge and you got to start today. So anything, I love that it comes from you, from someone who, who has been there, who does this on a constant basis, because you show up for your audience, of course, but I feel like you show up for yourself every single day doing so.
Yeah,
I love that.
I agree. It is. It's about, there's a fulfillment that comes out of it too, like completing something and putting something out there. And it's not always going to be great. You're not always going to be like, wow, that was great. I'm so happy I did that. That's not always going to happen, but a lot of the time it does. And there's, it's rewarding to see that other people respond to that as well.
Exactly. And I feel like going back to what we were saying a little bit at the beginning, it goes back down to, hey, we're not alone. Like, this is normal, I want to tell this for a really long time, the story for a really long time, but something like, even when we take it out of like motherhood, for example, I interviewed Rosanna Burgos from Mama Bee, and she was on her podcast on Mother's Day, May 10th, and on May 31st. And the one that we recorded for Mother's Day, when we were recording the first time, we were 40 minutes in, basically almost done, more or less. And I realized at that moment that I didn't hit record.
Oh no.
I know, right? And I shared it, and they're like, oh my God, people are like, why would you share that embarrassing moment? I'm like, because to let you know, I'm human and I make mistakes and no one's perfect. And the moment that I told her, she laughed so much, and not in a mean way by any means. She's like, oh my God, that has happened to me too. We've recorded videos without a sound, or I've recorded so many things and it's like, it's fine, it's absolutely fine. And then, it doesn't matter the following you have, it doesn't matter what it is, you're still human.
Yeah.
So it's trial and error. You're gonna make mistakes, just get back up. We're literally like learning how to do this whole thing together.
Yeah.
Some more, some less, some are a little bit more ahead, but it's not really being ahead either. It's just kind of like each path is different.
Yeah, for sure.
And life is going to present, different opportunities at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. So definitely. Going back to what you were saying, that this is really fulfilling what you do. Apart from your blog and your very active social media, because you're always on Instagram, like with your stories and whatnot. And I know you got loads of surprises coming our way soon. What do you do every day that is just for you?
So this has kind of been something that happened in my life and then stopped happening in my life, stopped happening. But I try to find a little bit of time in the day for myself, whether that be to do a bit of yoga or to read or to even write. And I do find that writing in the morning, it's usually in the morning is definitely the most fulfilling, especially if something kind of good comes out of it. So yeah, I wake up earlier than I normally would. And I was not a morning person before kids, but it's carving out that time. It's finding time in the day, right? And just sitting there quietly and writing. for a bit is lovely. And journaling, whatever, just getting ideas out. Yeah, it's kind of.
Yay. And how important is that for you?
It's pretty important. And I think, I mean, it's been a slow process. Like I didn't always do that. But I think it's so important that even my husband has noticed it. Like he will kind of, the kids will all kind of hang out with him for a bit before going downstairs. And he's like, oh, I just wanted you to have your time. And I was like, oh, you know about this time? Because I thought it was like a secret. you know what I'm doing down there, having my coffee and writing by myself. But that just a little bit of alone time to kind of process thoughts. Because I do find that gets lost in a day sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like even if you don't have kids, you do so much in a day.
Mm-hmm.
Even, I mean, I work from home, and even if you work from home or not, you're still interacting with a million things, have a million thoughts, and you just get kind of lost once we're like literally what we're saying, finding your why again and just kind of being grounded and centered. So I feel like that's super important. And then when you are a mom and you are mom
Yeah.
like all day times 3 in
Oh,
your case, it's like, what's my name? It's like, who am I again? Okay, hold on. Let's take a step back. I'm Vanessa.
Yeah.
I wanted to definitely ask you, because you have 2 boys and a girl.
Mm-hmm.
How is it like racing them, and do you race them a little bit differently? Do you, not that you like, in sense of, do you make, because I feel like you make sure that your boys know how to respect women, and you know that your girl, well, she's very little right now still, but in the future would be like very, feeling empowered and whatnot. So how do you work that in?
I definitely think, well, our boys are at an age where they are very rambunctious and jumping around a lot. And it's hard to tell, like she might be as well. It's hard to tell, she's still so young, but she is starting to climb. There are a few things that I've noticed now that we have a girl, in the sense of the language that I use. So yes, we talk about, oh, that's a pretty dress, but we also really want to say, like, that's smart. Like you want to, language is kind of huge. And I think it matters for both men and women, and sort of the language that we use when we speak to them. But I became so much more aware of it when I had a girl. I think because I am a woman and I know the power that can have. Obviously, it has the same effect on boys as well. But I was really aware of it, and we talk about, oh, that's a pretty dress, but smart and
Strong
those kind of things.
and kind.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
definitely, like I said, your boys are still very young. I mean, all 3 of your kids are still very young. So I know you'll be talking about this in the future with them, of course. But I come to notice that with the moms that we've had on, or the people that are following through us in our team flyer, much like you, I love the way that they're educating their kids, both boys and girls, to be respectful and to know that, they're empowered, and like boys can cry and they are sensitive, and you're allowed to. Like, you don't have to be, all macho, because I feel like that's a thing of the past.
Yes.
And I feel like through what we see with you, because you do share a lot through your Insta stories or through your blog specifically, and more surprises coming and whatnot, we get to see that as well. And I feel like that's super interesting.
Oh, I'm excited that comes through, because it is, just our day-to-day lives, and you try to be as conscious of those things as possible. But yeah, just the language that we use, we try, right? And that the kindness piece is huge as well. Just being aware of respect for each other. It's huge.
Exactly. Oh, so sweet. Oh my goodness. Can you tell us what's upcoming from you? Do you have something in mind, in store?
There's a few things in the works. We have lots of projects that we're always working on. Home stuff has kind of been, I mean, our house it turned 100 years old to not today, but this year.
This year. That's insane.
Today, we
Wow.
don't actually know.
We don't
So
know.
it's
It could be today.
It could have been today. Who knows when they finish building it? But home projects are always kind of on the go. Right now, a big focus for this year was giving back. So lots more to come with some charities that I am working with. That's a huge focus for me right now. And I thought that's something that is growing. And I thought this year that's something I wanted to look back on and make sure that I was going back to. So that's kind of coming up.
Exactly. Because you did charity recently. Well, more or less recently. Time flies. But you do have a charity event as well.
Yes.
That we can talk about really quickly so they know a little bit more about it, of what you do and your way of giving back.
Yeah. So I think it started, I guess what year are we in now? We're going into our 4th year of Holiday with Heart. And it's a social gathering. There's usually small shops involved. This year we did it with a local shop. In the past, we've done it in Toronto as well. And we kind of come together and raise money and goods, like things that families and mothers in need would need. And during that time, it's usually like winter gear and clothing and things like that. So that's what that's all about.
I adore that so much. Like, I definitely have to give you a shout out because I love people who use their platform for good, and we see that with you completely. Because I feel like that's something that, you don't have to do, obviously, with everything you got on your plate and whatnot, but you feel like, okay, this is important, and you teach those values to your kids as well. Mm-hmm. I adore that.
They're getting to the point now where they do kind of understand when there's like food drives at school and things like that. I mean, our oldest is getting to the point where he can understand that. So definitely leading by example, hopefully. But those are pretty important to me, those things like that.
Exactly. Go so good. What kind of things can we find on your blog? Give us a few tidbits so they can know a little bit more about you through there as well.
Okay. So definitely you'll find stories of motherhood. So something's coming up. So this year, a big one was, our son starting school. I talked about the emotional sort of roller coaster that felt like. That was there. So motherhood and the stages, I guess it kind of follows where we are at as a family. So those stages. Recipes, been a bit behind with that lately, but oftentimes I try to put simple recipes up there that, you can make at home that aren't, crazy complex, because I don't have time for that.
Exactly. It's like
what else? Home projects that we're working on, see things like that, and vacation when we are able to go places. They've been local. We haven't taken our kids on a plane yet, but that is on the bucket list. So when we can leave.
Exactly. Whatever that can happen. But for now, it's little things like that makes life a little bit easier and smoother. So it doesn't matter if you have 1 kid or 5. I mean, with her, you can resonate with what she's going through, because especially if you have kids, obviously, at the same time, easy recipes. I mean, who does not love easy recipes, please? With or without kids, you're like, oh my God, give me something easy to cook that's tasty. Thank you very much. And just a journey along through that, which I absolutely adore. I recommend to everyone listening to go, of course, follow her, subscribe, all the good stuff. Definitely, follow up with the newsletter as well, actually, because she's going to throw more surprises, more things coming, so you're up to date with what she does and whatnot. So go subscribe to that as well. And before we wrap up, the same 2 questions we ask everyone is, what are 3 words to describe you?
Oh, wow. Oh my goodness.
It sounds so simple, doesn't it?
I feel like I should have thought about this one before. Oh, goodness. Okay. I do like to talk a lot. I'm just trying to think of a word that, like,
talkative?
One word.
Talkative?
Yeah, talkative.
Talkative?
Yeah.
Chatty? Chatty?
Yeah, chatty. So chatty. It's so tough. Oh, this is tough. Does anyone else find this tough?
Yes. Some people are really on the go, and some people, anytime that someone asks me this, I'm like, wait, hold on, what? Okay, yeah, okay, what? So you're not the only one. That's why we love these kind of relationships and reactions, because you're like, see, babes, you're not the only one. Flyers. It's
okay, so we have one right now. Chatty. This is gonna end up being like 3 different words that all start with the same letter. I
know one that starts with C for you, and it's on your name.
Yeah. Creative is definitely there. It's hard to compliment yourself. It feels so weird. I feel like when
this is why I ask people, because you gotta take the wins. You gotta own who you are and know.
yeah, creative. Yeah, that's huge for me because it's kind of what makes me want to do all of these things. Those ideas are always in my head. Conscious, I think. I'm really
Oh, I
aware
love
of
those. It's very all words are with C, but I love that word, conscious. Yes, ma'am.
aware of what's happening, and I want to do things about it. So
See, this is why we love you. This is why we had to bring you on. This is like, these are people that I support 110%, making the change. I mean, hello. It's like, I love it. You came up with really good 3 words, to be honest. Chatty, creative, and conscious. I was gonna keep it chatty with keeping the C's alive, you know. I mean, talkative is better, obviously, than chatty, but still, I
it's fine.
guess.
I'm okay with chatty. It's fine.
But it's true. I mean, I love what you do. I love that you have such a good heart. You really do. And I love that once again, you're just yourself in any platform that I see you in, that you're like, oh my God, she's just like a girlfriend. Like, that's awesome. It's like, I'm just chatting with you on a Saturday.
Yeah. I feel like it's hard to be anything else. Like I feel like I would struggle with being anything else other than just you.
Other than just being yourself. And that's exactly what the world needs. Just real raw. And why not? Everyone else is taken. Just be yourself. I know it's very cheesy, but hey, see, that's a word that describes me. I'm very cheesy, but I get my point across.
I love it. I love it.
I get my point across. Oh my God. Hopefully you know the answer to the next one a little bit faster. It might be a long list though. Usually it is. What are you grateful for?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's a huge list. I bought a gratitude journal actually a little while ago. And I've been trying to write in it as often as possible. There's so many things. Family is huge for me. I think especially during this crisis, they've really noticed like it doesn't matter sort of where you live, what you have. None of that stuff matters. You need the people around you. Family, obviously, the fact that we have like a roof over our heads right now. Yeah, I don't know. Those are 2 huge things for me. The people that I spend my time with. And the ability to share ideas. So that is huge.
That's very nice as well. The ability
That
to
we
share
have
ideas, that we can
that we
have
can do
that.
that.
Exactly. Being
Like,
grateful is always number 1 on my list. I love that you bought a grateful journal, a gratitude journal, whatever you want to call it. But I always tell people, like, you don't have to buy a journal if you don't really want one, for example, but just get a regular notebook and just write every day 3 things that you're grateful for. And you're going to find a pattern, and it's so useful. And as a person that
patterns are
has
there for
come, yes. Like, as a person that came from basically nothing, because you know my story by now, or if you don't, then go back and I'll link it down below, I guess. But still, I love being grateful. I have a with my husband every night right before going to bed and saying I love yous. We say like what we're grateful for that day. So it has to be something like, it could be anything from like a butterfly that we saw that, I don't know, that landed on our step or whatever. It could be something as quote unquote simplistic as that, or something big, obviously, like family and health and whatnot. But we really try to pinpoint it, because I mean, obviously we're going to be grateful for family and health and people and whatnot, but we like diving in deep, because you're
yeah.
like, okay, this specific moment, you know.
And during this
And
time, it's like it's so important.
it's so important to be grateful for what you have and really realize that your all the power and strength that you have as well. I feel like, you know, life is going to give you a lot of curveballs, obviously, and it just really depends how you take them. And I feel like after living this little period, people are like a bit more like, oh my God, I survived, I can make it, I can do the hard things, you know, and strive right through.
Yeah.
So now, definitely for last, I can't believe we're almost done, and oh my God, I love talking to you so much.
Me too.
Where can we find you? I know we got to continue.
Okay, so there's a couple places. Obviously, my blog, Josephine Creative Life. Instagram, the same name. I have been using Pinterest quite a bit lately. I do find that kind of a way for me to unwind. I like imagining, oh, this could be a fun place to live on there as well. Facebook, Josephine Creative Life as well.
Definitely love it. I love with Pinterest, it's kind of like playing make believe in real life, as in like an adult life,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a great way to like manifest stuff that you want, because you're gonna find beautiful DIYs or beautiful cheap little places that you can find what you need.
Yep.
And I love that all in one. So definitely. So I'll definitely be dropping the links up below as always. You know where to find us with anything they always believe, or you know, I have my personal profile as well with the.ariadna.arredondo. My new project, the Latina podcast as well. So I'll drop all the links and I'll tag down below, obviously. So come on in, DM us. Our door's always open. And if you ever have any questions about motherhood, and just go subscribe, go follow, go say hello, and then there you go. Just make friends. That's what, you know, social media is also for. We're all in this together, right? So thank you very much once again for being here today, and we'll keep talking.
Thank you. It was so fun.
Hey, bye.